Young Thug's girlfriend hinted towards his release date after a new motion was granted in his trial. As it was officially announced, Young Thug's lawyer files a motion to redact/remove any mention in the indictment of the 9 co-defendants who took guilty pleas. He argues that the fact co-defendants pleading guilty cannot be used as evidence against Thug or others in the trial. In a few YSL members' plea deals, a few of them have to take the stand against Young Thug during trial, where they have to reveal to the jury all of the crimes that YSL committed, including the ones Young Thug was involved in. However, the motion was granted today as it was announced they will also redact overt acts in the indictment committed by people who are no longer part of the trial. As while this was being announced, Young Thug would then be seen in court giving a thumbs up during the motion grant, as shortly after the court session, Young Thug's girlfriend Mariah The Scientist would end up hinting towards Young Thug's soon-to-be release, as she would speak about marrying Young Thug once he's out of jail.
Do you think that marriage is the next step for you, Young Thug?
I mean, when he gets out of jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think either of us want a jail wedding. Yeah, but I feel like he definitely wants to be married, and I feel like I do too.
Do you ever imagine life outside once he's out?
For sure. We talk about it all day. All day long. I mean, I feel like being imaginative can help every human being on earth not lose your mind. Mm-hmm. You know, it is like a little slight state of delusion.
Young Thug's girlfriend and his family are very confident about his release due to the prosecution. These prosecutors are extremely unprofessional against Thug and his lawyers. As it would be reported, Young Thug's lawyer is fed up with the state interrupting him every 5 seconds. He told the judge he's ready to start being petty during trial and start doing the same thing back to them.
So, I sit here, I don't interrupt Miss Love at all. And if this is the way, Your Honor, and I need to bring this up to the court, if we are going to be doing opening statements with interruptions, cross-examination with interruptions, I am going to ask the court to admonish and take action against Ms. Love, because I sat here for a year, it feels like, being interrupted on every quality, proper statement, and all the objections are the same. Asked and answered, vague,
Your Honor, I'm going to
excuse me, Ms. Love.
Let me finish, man.
You have to.
And I'm going to object to being spoken to by Mr. Steele in a condescending manner on the record.
Let him finish, and then I'll let you respond, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let him finish. All right.
And if we're going to sit here during opening statements that I'm telling the court, and I don't want to do this, I am going to object to everything that I believe there is a good faith basis.
Further proving on how bad these prosecutors truly are, the judge even started screaming at them in a court hearing due to these prosecutors trying to do something very illegal by sneaking in new witnesses that allegedly have evidence of Young Thug doing some sort of crime.
Your Honor, we would ask, because we would ask that all of this be reserved for the 16th, because this all came up in September. You said you allowed us to.
I am really annoyed about this, Ms. Fulton. I just am. This is ridiculous. Your witness list has grown by 2/3 since then. And I don't know why. You better have a dang good explanation on the 16th, because if you don't, I'm going to exclude it. Okay. But right now I'm telling you, without anything further, it's gone.
Well, we would like to
exclude a lot more on that date, because this is ridiculous. There is no plausible explanation I've gotten and that would suffice, that we just kind of keep, you keep dripping and driving out evidence.
The prosecutors are trying to sneak in 200 plus witnesses to come to trial and share crimes that Jeffrey allegedly committed, all while not sharing the names of these witnesses or even what crimes they witnessed. As this would even leave Meek Mill reacting, "Jeff is gonna beat this case, it is too messy," which in all honesty, he's seeming to be correct. The only things they have currently against Young Thug is now the state confirming they will be calling Walter Murphy, aka DK, an alleged co-founder of YSL, to testify about some sort of armed robbery. DK was the first co-defendant to take a plea deal in the YSL case back in December of 2022. However, it's important to note that Thug's lawyer says he interviewed DK, and DK claimed to not know anything about what the state says he's going to be testifying about.
Mr. Murphy never says that Mr. Williams is involved in this armed robbery. He never said. What he says was, I've done all this all this work for Thug. He carried bags for Jeffrey Williams while on tour. These two people grew up together. He said nothing about a
Is
crime.
Mr. Murphy testifying at trial? Yes?
Well, I've interviewed him.
As once again proving, these prosecutors and state have no idea what they're even doing, as the state is accusing DK of committing an armed robbery by Young Thug's request. Meanwhile, once again, not providing any sort of evidence that Young Thug told DK to commit this robbery. This even connects to the serious evidence they have against Thug, but to understand this, we need to dive deep into the rap lyrics in Thug's music. As DJ Akademiks would report, Judge in Young Thug case allows the use of 17 different lyrics against him and his co-defendants.
Is going to admit for the limited purpose thus far, the state's request to apply the evidence statute is written. I'm going to conditionally admit particularized lyrics, and those lyrics are found within states 18. There's 17 sets of lyrics. I'll conditionally admit those pending lyrics, depending upon or subject to a foundation that is properly laid.
As Young Thug self-snitched in many of his rap songs, as he would break down on how crimes were committed and who they even targeted. The first set of Thug lyrics is in the track titled Bad Boy featuring Juice WRLD, where Young Thug raps the lyrics, "I went at his mommy, now he no longer mentions me." As during the famous Young Thug vs YFN Lucci beef, things escalated extremely fast, as Lucci was doing some real damage towards the YSL group. Well, Young Thug wanted to put a quick end to it, so he targeted YFN Lucci's mother by using firearms towards her home. As evidence would show in police files, ever since then, Lucci has not done a single thing towards Young Thug.
Well, he's featured on the song, so the song is actually by an artist that goes by the name of Juice WRLD, and it's featuring Mr. Williams. The song is called Bad Boy, and Mr. Williams says, "I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mention me." Now, this would seem, again, insignificant if you're just looking at these words. However, in this case, in the height of the 2050 between the YSL gang and the IF, we have cases in which individuals of YSL the opposition's mother's house. Mr. Rayshawn Bennett, also known as YFN Lucci. We have two incidents in January 22 of 2015 and January 26 of 2015, where his mother's home, Mr. Bennett's mother's home,
Then in the second Young Thug song is titled You, where Thug raps the lyrics, "Honestly, truth be told, YSL won't fold. Pick him off from the balcony, YSL wipes a nose." This is relating to a crime where YSL members targeted an op while he was outside on his balcony of his apartment building, as court files suggest that several YSL members were sitting in park in a stakeout vehicle watching the balcony of an op's apartment. Once the op decided to come out on his balcony, you can likely guess what happened then, as the next set of lyrics are my favorite. Read out loud in the courtroom to the judge was the lyrics, "My boys really be slime and we committing them crimes. Hop out and hit, you wanna be slime? Go catch you a body." These lyrics are from Young Thug's hit song titled Really Be Slime, which funny enough is featuring YNW Melly, who has his own court case currently ongoing, where the state is accusing him of being responsible for his two best friends' passings of YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. However, prosecutors allege that these lyrics in this song relate to the recruitment process of joining Young Thug's street team YSL, where you have to go out and commit a very serious crime towards someone to join the team. This evidence is pretty harsh that is currently against Young Thug. However, thankfully with the motion granted, the newly reported plea deal by Young Thug's right-hand man named Durante BB doesn't really matter as much, as Durante B just pled guilty to his RICO charges that are against him, along with participation in criminal street activity, theft by receiving stolen property, violation of Georgia's Controlled Substance Act, armed robbery, hijacking of a motor vehicle, and firearm charges.
And you give this guilty plea freely and voluntarily, means your own decision to enter a plea this afternoon? Yes. Okay, all right. And sir, then I find that based upon the responses that you've given and the colloquy in this case and the court's questioning of you, that your pleas are freely and voluntarily entered. I find a factual basis. I'm going to go ahead and accept your pleas as tender and negotiate, sentence you to the, as indicated. You're 23 years old. You've had enough trial in your life at this point in time. Would you agree?
Yes.
Time to have a little testimony. Time to reclaim your own life, and that you can do in this case, or if you just separate yourself from the people that you've been hanging out with. Find some new friends, find some new people that are going to be positive in your life, and if they don't add to your life, then you need to cut them loose.
In that entire list of charges, BB was only sentenced to 5 years in prison with 10 years probation following his release. B is now the 9th co-defendant to strike a plea deal to avoid trial, as with B taking his plea deal, admitting guilt of all of those crimes. Thankfully, the jury will not know about this, as they will also not know about Gunna's plea deal either, as Gunna also admitted guilt of several crimes that YSL committed as a street team.
You agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in front of
Yes, ma'am.
you were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocarbons and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL to the detriment of my community. YSL again. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.